Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here and just being here with me during this precious time of yours. I know that, it feels like all of us just have so much going on right now in this current season of life. So, again, thanks for being here with me and also for honoring yourself and giving yourself some space and time to just do something that's really nourishing for you. And, hopefully you'll get and hear the message that is meant to, that you're meant to receive today. And I am, I had such a hard time pressing play or pressing start, pressing record today to record this video. And it just feels like, again, so much is going on personally, collectively. And this is going to be a little bit of a different video than I normally record. Sorry, my eyes are watering here, so my mascara is running. But it feels a little bit vulnerable because I feel like often I kind of show up and I know that I want to talk about manifestation, or I kind of have a lot of clarity around what I want to talk about. And I, to be completely honest, just haven't been feeling a ton of clarity lately. And that even feels super vulnerable to share. And I want to still show up and share the things that are coming up for me, share some of the things that I'm kind of energetically going through, just some insights that I have. I don't know, maybe there's some wisdom in there, in hopes that it serves you. I find that, now as I'm speaking, it's so scary and it feels so vulnerable to, especially when you're trying to grow a channel like this, or you're putting yourself out there in a way. It's so easy to get caught up in this belief that you need to have things all figured out, right? We think we need to be the expert. But I want to really challenge that, right? I don't believe that. I believe that all of us have so much wisdom and so much insight to share, and really just showing up in our truth, even if that feels super vulnerable, that may be the exact thing that someone needs. Maybe it's the exact thing that you need. And I feel some of my own emotion coming up because I'm realizing how powerful it is for me to do this as well, to just be super vulnerable and show up in this way. So again, thank you for, allowing me to show up in this way for you. So again, let's just kind of dive in. I really want to be committed to showing up more. I don't want to say without a plan, but showing up even when I don't feel like I have it figured out. Really showing up and just allowing whatever wants to come through me in those moments to come through. And if this doesn't resonate with you, that's also fine, right? I have so much trust and I want to show up in this way so that you can also have that same trust that things are always working out for you. Even when you feel scared, even when it feels really vulnerable to show up in your truth, even when you don't have clarity, and I need to show up in that way so that you can give yourself permission to do that as well. However that looks for you, that looks very different for each and every one of us. So again, this is kind of me honoring that, and me, kind of bravely and courageously taking the step to, again, continue to show up this way. And I really want to start making daily videos, again, just whatever is coming up, in hope and in trust that it will resonate with whoever it's meant to. And whether it's my videos or someone else's, no matter what you're listening to, remember that it is always an opportunity for self-discovery, for self-awareness, for curiosity, to really just notice what's being activated inside of you. And that wisdom is gold. When you can slow down and really tune into your body, see how you're feeling, seeing what ideas are coming up, what insights are coming up, again, what's maybe being triggered or activated, right? None of it is bad, right? We don't need to judge that, but really just noticing, oh, there's something here. And then again, without judgment, you can really kind of like dig into that from a place of curiosity. And no matter what it is that's activating you, no matter what you're listening to, again, there is so much gold because you have the wisdom already inside of you. And it's really just about slowing down and being able to listen to that, really being able to tune in and see what wants to like kind of come up from the depths of you to be seen, right? And then from that place, maybe we are healing something. Maybe we're simply releasing something. Maybe we're getting new creative insights and something that we want to follow. So again, just as you listen, just notice whatever is activated for you, because it's there for a reason, and you can really trust that. Okay. So what I wanted to really share about today is I feel like there's so much energy right now. There was a full moon in Taurus on Friday. Today, the 18th, we are leaving, or Pluto is leaving Capricorn and transitioning into Aquarius, where it's going to be for the next 20 years, right? There is a lot of stuff going on. And again, we are all having our own experiences, like sorry, my computer flashed for a second. We are all having our own very unique experiences here. And for some of you, this may feel really heavy. For some of you, this may feel really light and exciting and new. For some of you, you might be releasing a ton of old crap. Maybe things that weren't even in your awareness are like suddenly getting like brought to your awareness, and things are happening, and it can just feel really uncertain. Or maybe again, now maybe instead you're like, no, I know exactly what I want and I'm moving in that direction, right? Like we're all in these very different places. But one thing that I feel in my own body to be true is whatever you're going through, like it feels big, right? And sometimes we associate heavy with bad, or light with good, but again, it doesn't have to. That's just like the meaning we're creating around it. But it just feels expansive. I think that is really a better word to use right now, because no matter what you're going through, even when it feels so hard, there is an opportunity to learn and grow and expand. And I believe, like, at the root of this experience, we are here for like soul evolution, human evolution, expanding into our highest potentials, right? In this lifetime, in future lifetimes, whatever that looks like for each and every one of us. And the more we can get really curious with what's coming up for us, maybe patterns or stories or things that keep circling back around, or even just sometimes it's like all of a sudden you'll have like a brand new insight out of nowhere. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I hadn't even seen a perspective around a certain thing in your life in that way, right? Don't dismiss that. Don't disregard that. There is, again, so much wisdom and juice and power in just getting curious with that and allowing it to lead you wherever you're meant to be led. And that really kind of leads me into this next point of, I feel like we are all making way too much meaning out of all of the things happening in our life. And I get like, so, and this really comes from my own reflection, because in this weekend alone, in like less than a 48-hour period, I had some like really big exciting things and some really like low things happen in such a short time frame. And it really was like such a roller coaster. I don't even know if a roller coaster is the right word, because it was such a short and condensed time to kind of be able to look at all of these things and see what's coming up for me and be able to make sense of it or try to make sense of it. And as I was sitting with kind of the heaviness of some of the lows, I was reminded that even in the lows, we get to choose how we feel. Even in the lows, this is not a chance or an opportunity to, we always hear this term like spiritual bypassing, like just pretend it's not happening or pretend like it's okay and kind of sweep it under the rug and move on. It's not that at all. It's really sitting with it and honoring whatever is coming up and understanding that we get to choose the meaning that we're creating. If there is if we're coming up with a story, checking in on the story that you're creating. Like, is it true? Does it need to be here? Maybe the story you're creating is an avoidance of just simply feeling whatever it is that needs to be felt, right? There's all these layers in which we kind of move through our own experiences. But again, when we can slow down and just honor it and know that we always get to come back to our own choices. We always get to choose how we feel. We always get to choose how we react. Okay. Again, this doesn't mean that we let people get away with things or that there shouldn't be justice. I don't mean any of that at all, but we can come back to the truth that we always have our own freedom, right? We are not the victim. We are more powerful than we know, right? And it's in that choice that we become empowered. It is in the witnessing of what's going on without getting absorbed into that thing that we reconnect to the power that has always been there. And that is like the biggest gift we can give ourselves. Because from that place, we can then we can see like, oh, what is this? Why did this have to happen? Or what is this experience trying to show me or teach me, right? And again, there are a million different examples, right? But maybe I'm just going to kind of try to lean into some themes right now. But, maybe the theme for you is around setting healthy boundaries or creating a stronger foundation in your life. Maybe it's a foundation built on, like rhythms and routines. Maybe it's a foundation, where you're like, oh no, I need a stronger spiritual foundation, or I need a stronger emotional foundation, or again, just feeling into whatever feels true for you. But again, just letting like whatever is being activated, like letting that guide you, letting that show you the bigger thing, right? The bigger thing going on, the bigger theme. And again, it's not always in response to like a goal or something we need to heal, or again, sometimes we don't know what it's going to be. Sometimes it's just like it's something happening to us right now. We can't make sense of it. I don't want to say even happening to us like something outside is happening. It's like sometimes it's just something that we're going through, again, like new wisdoms or awarenesses or something coming up for us, and we can't make sense of it. And again, we don't have to make sense of it. This goes back to this, again, based on my own reflection, trying to make so much meaning out of things. And sometimes we're not going to know the meaning, and that's also okay. It's being able to just be in this life. It's being able to just allow the divine to move through us, to trust whatever it is that's coming up for us, trust whatever it is that we're going through, and knowing that when we don't get wrapped up in it, when we don't ruminate in it, when we don't get caught up in the loop of whether it be a victim mentality or the story, or again, this is happening, maybe the drama of it, when you can just kind of see it for what it is and stop making meaning out of it and trust that everything is always supporting our own growth and expansion, and just breathing into that. And again, just sharing kind of some of my own practices. If this doesn't resonate with you, totally fine, right? Do what feels best for you. But when you can do that, when you can kind of step back a little, it opens up, it allows for the growth and expansion, right? And again, we're not always in control of that. We don't always need to know. We don't always get to know. Sometimes what you're going through right now, you may not even have clarity around that for 3 months, right? Who knows? Maybe you'll be in the shower next week and have some light bulb moment, or be like, oh, I finally had to release that in order to do X, right? But maybe not. We don't know. But again, when we can just when we can stop creating so much meaning and simply just allow ourselves to soften into this experience a little bit more, allow ourselves to just live, right? Again, I don't mean going out and being really haphazard and, not having healthy boundaries, or purposely or consciously choosing to live in a way that doesn't feel in alignment with you. But it's when you can just come home to your own heart, to your own desires, to your own connection, to your soul, to the divine, to spirit, and then live from that place of connection, right? Live in alignment with that. Again, without getting wrapped up in the stories, without, going down these rabbit holes of why things happened and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Life gets easier. And it doesn't mean that we aren't going to, I laugh because, this is a conversation me and my husband were having this weekend. It doesn't mean that life won't still happen, right? Things still happen. We are still having this very human experience and existence. And there are certain things, right, that we know, right? Things people die, and sometimes, bad things happen, or things that we, again, think of as being bad, and they feel scary, and they cause uncertainty, and they make us feel stressed, and all of these things. And again, completely honoring those parts of you and saying that as equally as much for me as I'm sharing it with you right now. But even as I say this, can you just breathe? Can you just come back into your heart space, trusting that everything is going to be okay? Everything is going to be okay. And this really, again, leads me to the next thing that I was really been reflecting on over the weekend. And it was this idea, sorry, this video has lots of themes, but it all just feels really present to me right now. And again, just wanting to share in hopes that it serves you as well. But this, I talk a lot about manifestation, and I work with my clients on achieving, these big dreams and goals that they have. And I find myself, kind of going back and forth. And I'm Libra sun. So when you think of Libra, you typically think of balance and harmony. So I think it makes total sense that I go back and forth with this. But I often, struggle myself with this idea of simply wanting to just be in this human experience, right? All the things that I've been talking about, just allowing, just not working so hard, not trying so hard, just being and trusting. And that takes a ton of trust, right? And I do my own work, my own trust work, right? Like and it's like I have so much faith, and still there's so much trust work, like from me, from the human part of me, right? To really soften into that faith. And it's a process every single day of just, again, wanting to trust, wanting to soften into that, wanting to just live and experience the fullness of this existence of my time here, allowing whatever wants to be, right? And then, like, kind of equally, I'm pulled with knowing the power of co-creating and manifesting and the things that we can do. And so right now, again, I can't totally make sense of it, but I'm bringing it up because maybe simply you're feeling this and you're like, oh, I don't feel as alone, right? But right now for me, it's really like about finding the balance. Even finding it doesn't feel like the right word. It's creating, connecting, feeling into um, the harmony or the balance of, you know, living and co-creating and manifesting, and how that looks and how that can be more easeful when I trust and allow, and I'm not trying so hard, I'm not working so hard, and even more importantly, I'm not so focused on what it is exactly that I want to manifest, right? There's a part of me that has really big goals and dreams that I want to manifest, and then there's this other part of me that just wants to trust that you know, whatever is for me will show up, and, being completely okay with that, right? And again, this feels so vulnerable to share this in this way, especially because I teach manifestation. Um, but again, it's just kind of, maybe it's like the season that I'm in, and I'm not discounting it at all, right? Like, we all have these things, and I trust that I'm gonna gain some clarity around this, and trust that I'm meant to share it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sharing it right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be showing up in this way. Um, so I don't know, maybe for you, like, leaning into right now how you're being called. Are you being called to, I don't know, relax into life a little bit more? Are you maybe a little bit the opposite? Maybe you're like really like ready to um, you know, go after something with a lot of, energy and excitement. And again, there's no right or wrong. Like that, I guess at the end of the day, like, that's the most beautiful message. There is no right or wrong. It's, where are you feeling called in this moment? Can you trust that however you're feeling called is exactly what you're meant to be doing in this moment, at this time, this day, whatever that looks like? And from that place, act in alignment with that, right? So, right, this video is like the perfect example where it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense for me to show up this way. It feels really scary and vulnerable, but it feels very true. So I felt like I just really wanted to show up in this way, even though it felt scary. I have no idea, right? The outcome, it doesn't matter, right? It's just like, maybe this will serve someone. Again, maybe it will provide some clarity for myself when I get off here. But can you just keep showing up in alignment in whatever feels good to you? Um, Again, not always knowing or having the clarity, but still taking that next step, right? Just taking the action that feels most aligned for you in this moment. I had this mentor one time, and if you know who said this, drop it in the comments, because I know she shared, but I don't remember. But there's this part of us that was like, we want to do, right? And then there's this other part of us that wants to be, and this is exactly what I was just talking about, like, holding space for the big goals and dreams while simultaneously holding space for just being in pure awe and gratitude of this existence that my soul is getting to have right now, right? And she said, but it's more like doobie 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 do. And I love that, right? Because it is a balance, and sometimes we're really good at it and we get it right? And sometimes, that feels harder. And I don't think that the idea is every day there is balance. I'm a mom with 2 kids, and there is certainly, not a lot of balance. But I think it's like, again, really just following what feels true, because when we follow what feels true, it feels balanced. I know for me, when I'm following what feels really true and I'm really excited about something, I could work, and just feel so alive and have so much energy. And then I go pick up my kids from school, and I'm present with them, and I, like, make a beautiful dinner, and I'm like doing all the things, and I just feel so lit up. And then there are other days where I'm just like, okay, the best I can do is, maybe record a video, do a couple little things, spend time with my kids, and like that's all I have energy for, right? So it's not like the idea of finding balance every single day, but maybe it's truly, how can you live most aligned, right? How can you like resource that energy? And I believe we have an like an unlimited amount of creative and life force energy pulsing through us. How can we be more tapped into that? How can you be more tapped into that? And really, it comes back to you really accessing that connection to the divine that already and always lives inside of you. And this is really the last thing that I want to leave you with. And it's the idea of, we oftentimes we have the spiritual practice, but we forget that like life is the spiritual practice, right? And or that even the spiritual practice is just living our life, right? They're not separate. It's not like I just go to church on Sunday and then I forget about all the things, or whatever your spiritual practice may be. Maybe you do a meditation in the morning, but then you're like stressed and running through your day the rest of the day. It's about the constant integration. And really, that is the magic. That is how you can access that magic every day, by bringing the spiritual practice with you constantly, right? Because the spiritual practice, it's so simple. It's just remembering that the divine lives in you, right? That's it. Like, we just have to remember that connection and come home to that connection as much as possible. And then move with that feeling of being so connected, right? Moving in alignment, trusting, having so much faith, right? And again, there's so many little avenues of this, but it really is that simple. There's no separation. So just bringing that practice with you, knowing that you are never disconnected from whatever higher power you believe in, that it's always with you, that we are all connected. And it gets to be easy. It gets to be fun, but you have to do this every day, right? That's where the idea of everyday magic comes from. It's like really tapping into this. And when you tap into that, you realize that the magic is always with you because it's in you. And you are so much more powerful than you realize. You have the ability to create and do and be anything you want. And it gets to be easy. You get to slow down. You get to surrender a little bit more through that trust, because the divine is just trying to move through you in the way that serves you and everyone around you best. And that's it. So with that, I hope you got whatever you needed to get from this video, and thank you for allowing me to show up very vulnerably, without clarity, and just wanting whatever wanted to come through. And again, I really am going to be committed to making daily videos, just sharing, I know, my own struggles a little bit more, sharing a little bit more vulnerably, sharing how I still connect to that magic and still connect to the divine, even when things are really tough or challenging, right? And I don't know, just trusting that whatever wants to come through is exactly what is meant to come through. And I hope you do the same. I hope you live from that place of alignment, that whatever is coming up for you, you approach it with curiosity. And if it feels exciting, if it feels joyful, if it feels expansive in any way, that you follow that and you trust that. All right, sending you so much love. I'll see you next time.